Good evening and welcome back to another chapter of the virtual Dominion Energy Jazz Café from the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts. I want to start tonight by thanking especially the Richmond Jazz Society for supporting us throughout this journey and for continuing to support us as we go forward. Tonight we are going to party. Tonight we are going to dance. Tonight we are going to jam. Take a break right now and go pour your next drink. We're in for an evening with Hotel X. African rhythms, Latin American rhythms, our good old-fashioned jazz that has become our staple for this series. Gentlemen, I've got nothing else to say. Can you give us a few tunes?
I think we could do that.
We'll
it's
talk.
One of our specialties.
Absolutely. We'll talk later?
Yeah.
See you then.
Thank you, Robert. Yeah, we're Hotel X. We have been together for 28 years as of September. And because of COVID, there wasn't any great celebration of it, but we're 28 years old as a band, and I'm awfully proud of that. We're going to start off, play 5 songs in our first set. And the first song is called The Berber's Jinx. It's a piece that I composed with my longtime collaborator, Ron Curry, about 20 years ago. And it's a mixing of Moroccan and Nigerian influences. The Berber's Jinx. Yay, thanks so much. It's great to be playing music again. Whether you're here or not, whether you're with us just in spirit, we're so glad to be here. Thanks so much to the staff at the VMFA, to Robert Fenard, and definitely BJ Brown and the mighty folks at the Richmond Jazz Society. Once again, that was the Berber's Jinx. This next song is by our bass player, Carter Blough, and it's reminiscences from a trip he took to Morocco several years ago, and it's called Blues in Fez. Thank you so much for listening. Doggone it. Once again, we're Hotel X. We pride ourselves in laying down the Afrodelic funk because nobody else is doing it. So, next up on the agenda here, and this is a tune I wrote years ago, inspired by a Chinua Achebe book, the great Nigerian writer, called "Things Fall Apart." This tune is called "D'Afrique," D''Afrique." Merci beaucoup. Thank you so much. That featured Charles Hunter on piano, keyboard solo. And while we're at it, Chris Vasi is here on electric guitars, Carter Blough on bass. In the back, Hunter Duke on drums. Our percussionists are Michael Ritz and James McDonald, and the mighty Charles Nill on the other guitar. And I'm Tim Harding. We're Hotel X. Thank you again so much. We're going to play two more. Yep, this is a beautiful, beautiful South African song by the great pianist Abdullah Ibrahim called Woza Mtwana. right. Thank you again. All right, we're going to close this set with a song I wrote. It's called Dance of the Marabou. And Marabou are sort of soothsayer shaman throughout North and West Africa, and have connections to the supernatural. This is called Dance of the Marabou.
Oh, Richmond, Virginia, Afrodelic, indeed. Tonight, Hotel X. I've been partying. Have you? I'll tell you before we move on to our conversation. These drums, you guys, percussion, you have my heart. You all have seen me play the piano before. You'll never see me play one of these fretted instruments, but percussionists. That's where I live if I'm not singing. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your rhythms. Y'all want to have a talk?
Yeah, let's do.
Something to drink?
All of the above.
All right, the rest of y'all take a break. Let's go.
Excellent.
Hotel X. Thank you so much for a first half of an incredible performance. Tim.
Yes.
Tell us a little about this group.
The group formed in 1992, September of 92. I formed it with a great friend. We both played electric bass. And that's where it started, with bass duets. And we'd talked about it literally for years. We really liked each other and liked each other's sensibilities about art and music. And just because we played the same instrument, and one that isn't known for playing together with another of the same, didn't bother us. We're just like, let's do it anyway. And so the very first night that we finally, after literally years of talking about it, finally got together and started playing, because Ron Curry, the other bass player, had moved to a house very close to mine. And the house had this name since the 1960s, Hotel X.
Oh.
So he moved in there. I knew the place. I'd spent a lot of time in there. I knew musicians who lived there before too. And we went into the basement. We started playing, and this great friend of ours, a wonderful drummer, Jim Thompson, had just flown in from California to Richmond, came there, heard music happening in the basement, came down to the basement, and without alerting us, we're down, our heads are down, we're just playing. He went over behind the drum set and started playing. And we just looked up while we're playing, and there's Jim with this huge grin playing along, and it was two electric basses and drums. And it went smashingly. It was so much fun. It immediately felt like it had traction. It was doing things.
This night you're telling me about, it wasn't planned, it sounds like. It was just some buddies getting together.
Yeah.
After you did that, did you know, did you hit on something that you wanted to continue, or
Yeah,
were you just like still buddies?
It was evident right away. There was something, it all kind of fit together. It clicked. It launched us into new territory, stuff we weren't expecting or planning at all. And I literally, when we finished that evening of playing, I said, hey, I'm going to ask our friend Jimmy Gaffrey, who plays saxophone, if he'll come and join us. And they were like, oh my God, that sounds great. And we had recorded on a boombox, cassette boombox, on the microphone that's built into the boombox, just push record. So it was very low fidelity recording.
Y'all remember that? Little boombox you recorded anyway.
And I sent it to a friend in Los Angeles who loved it. He took it to this record label. And I get a call a couple weeks later saying, we would have signed you. And I said, sign who? What are you talking about? And he said, this band with the two basses. And I said, we're not a band. We don't even have a name. We don't have any songs. And he's like, well, I heard this tape and I want you to record for us. So literally on the way to our very first recording session for our first record, we're in the car going, okay, we should probably have a name at this point. Since we're literally driving with our equipment. And the guy driving, who was our sound engineer, Kirk Henderson, had lived at this house years before. And he said, why don't you call it Hotel X? And 28 years later, it was a bit prophetic, Prophetic, a bit of foreseeing into the future, because it's been a bit of an overnight boarding house for musicians. There have been over 100 people who played in the band in 28 years.
Wait.
Yeah.
Pause. Hotel X has had that many people come in and out?
28 years, so yeah. Some people would literally stay for a week or two.
What?
And some people, this current lineup is the longest consistent lineup we've ever had with the band. Charles Hunter, the keyboardist, has been in the band about 16 years. Hunter, about 15 years. Chris, I think maybe 13 years.
Okay.
So we've got this long running, everybody's been in the band for years, and we've really been able to build up a kind of communication and a great friendship. We really, I mean, I love these guys genuinely so much as people, which to me is infinitely more important. Your acumen on your instrument can be, developed over time, but the person that you are,
Relationships.
that's so much more important to me. I want to be with people that I love and admire and respect, and I feel like what we make out of our time together will be valuable because it's valuable human beings doing stuff they care about. And
With that in mind,
yeah.
Charles, tell me about your introduction to Hotel X and what that meant for you when you brought those skills with those fingers to this music tradition.
Well, I was fortunate to find Hotel X. A friend of mine who played bass invited me to come and play with them. And what happened was that the day I did come to play with them, Tim wasn't there.
I'd been in a car accident earlier.
Okay, well, we'll come back to that.
Yeah. But the band was like a 12-piece, and they all said, we'll still do the show if you want. And I thought, there's nothing better than my band playing a gig, and I don't even have to be there.
Yeah.
But that night,
Yeah.
the fabulous Charles Hunter stepped in.
So the thing was, since Tim wasn't there, and there was actually no real leader of the band, I could play what I wanted to play. And that was my cup of tea. I knew that Tim would come back and maybe we'd have to discuss this thing, but when Tim came back, he heard what I was doing and said, yeah, that's great. So, I got a place where I can play what I want to play.
Now, when you got to Hotel X, were you already a jazz pianist?
I was a pianist. I was a piano player. I had played jazz, but I like all kinds of music. That's another thing about Hotel X. There's all kind of music in there. A lot of Afro. What is the word you use?
Afrodelic.
Afrodelic.
Well, yeah.
And I started to say it at the top of the show, and I thought, I don't remember the whole word. But I'm going to say it later.
But it's got those elements, like the guitars in particular. A lot of the times when we get
Yes,
into
sir.
like a group interplay, it gets pretty psychedelic. And I think that's a significant time in music for all of us. And I think that's part of what we draw from amidst a million things.
Now, before I move on, the term Afrodelic, if I'm honest, I'm sorry for being ignorant or whatever,
Yeah.
but I'd never heard it before. today.
No, I mean, it's a
And
made
so
up
was
term
that,
to
was
kind
that
of
your
Yeah, and
your
it's just
try
kind
to
of
put psychedelic
combining a
stuff
lot.
in it?
Yeah, there's I think for all of us too, so much of the music that we love, whether it's American soul and R&B
Right.
and funk and gospel and blues and jazz, Cuban and Caribbean music, Jamaican, Brazilian, and it all kept having these common roots in Africa. And the more we kept investigating, I think for each of us, the investigation of African music has been a huge part of our musical stories, our musical lives. And it serves as this incredible reservoir from which everything else, almost every other kind of music that I really particularly adore, has roots in Africa. And I think we could all say that, a huge amount of the music that really stirs all of us has roots in Africa.
Just today, before y'all came around in my life, and I'm glad you're here, I spent all day shooting some content for, get my little mask together, for the itty bitties, the little kids. And I love y'all, the grown folks, grown and sexy as I call them. But the itty bitties need us too.
Yeah, man.
And so today we spent the time teaching about Africa.
Nice.
Not really, well, some rhythm. We danced towards the end. We learned about food and culture. But I think it's so important for kids to learn things that that I don't think I learned when I was their age.
It's literally the font from which all human life
Yes,
comes.
sir.
And that means everything, not just that human beings anthropologically started there by
Preach.
every indication, but that culture and communication and ritual and art, dance, music, expression, all has its roots there. And it's literally the most misunderstood part of the planet. It's not understood well. Africans have lost a lot of their own personal history through colonization by Europeans over the last 500 years. They're separated from their own history. And so they've been kind of left to float without a rudder or an anchor in the modern world, and they're seen with much confusion and disdain often by everywhere else on the planet. And it's really, it's like our grandparents, and you need to learn about them, and as you get older, you're like, oh my God, my grandparents were amazing. And that's the thing, we just keep going back and finding, this place has given the world so much.
A cradle of life.
Yeah, man.
Chris.
Exactly.
Tell me about how you have experienced music, how you've incorporated jazz, the rhythms of Africa and in South America, and then your own personal experience as a human being yourself. How does that all come together as music for you that accents Hotel X?
Just as I've grown and matured, and the music I've collected along the way, from a kid listening to rock and roll and pop music, and then starting to hear other things and explore. I think I remember some of the first exposure I had to African music was on the NPR station with George Colonet's Afro-Pop Worldwide. Some Thomas Mafumo, some King Sunny Ade,
Yes, sir.
This stuff is fantastic, and then chase it down, discover more stuff from around the world, and I always loved that stuff.
So as a musician yourself, was that your beginning into the world of music, or did you already have a background and were able to use that experience to influence it?
Yeah, along the way I probably played music for a couple of years before I really started to hear music from around the world that way. And I think I can speak for us all, we filter in all the stuff we love, we listen to, no matter where it's from. We absorb it, and put it back out in whatever different combinations come up, whether that's the improvising, playing the parts, or the songwriting. I think of when I first joined the band, and it was a weekly practice, 6 o'clock on Thursdays.
Thursday.
At Tim's house, we'd all show up.
Thursdays at
You show up
6.
around 6,
Right.
and as often as not, Tim's got his little acoustic guitar, and he said, I've written a new song. Here, check this out, check this out. As we start to file in, he's showing the bassist, the bass line.
That's how we
Play
do
this.
it.
Okay, got it? Okay, keep doing that. And then he comes over to the drummer and says, play a little, maybe something like this. Oh, that's great. Keep doing it. He goes around the room. I think there were 8 of us in the band then, in that little spare bedroom we used to practice in. Show me my part. I think I got it. And once we're all playing and everyone's doing their thing, Tim would come in with his melody. That's the new song.
So when you
We'd play through the whole thing, maybe for 15 minutes.
Right.
Take it all over the place, and at the end, finish in a pile and laugh, and then say, do you have a name for that?
Yeah.
What was that?
Yeah, that was my question. When you're doing these sessions where you're creating together as musicians, do you know what you're working towards, or you just find it at the
No,
end?
there's no grand design for any of it, and I think that's one of the things that's so maybe liberating, because a lot of the circumstances we're in our lives, work, even family, there's a real structure that needs to be there for it to function. And in this case, if you get people who have personal responsibility, they bring a lot of that to the table. So the process is really, it's so entirely open-ended. There's no grand scheme about any of it. And I've told people before that in writing music, it's a really magical sort of thing. I have some idea. Wherever the song ends up is usually miles away from what my original idea was, because I sort of let the thing
right there with you, man.
it sort of writes itself in a way. I think part of the process is getting the heck out of the way of it. When something starts to want to blossom, instead of saying, no, what I want is this, it's just let it blossom, appreciate the nuance, the color, the shape of it that's coming into focus of its own accord.
Can we experience that together for just a moment? So when you're in that process, and the reason I'm digging on it is because I go through that process too. When I'm in that moment, I realize I'm telling a story, it's A. This song is telling a story B. What do you do in that moment?
You know, the best thing is hand it over to wonderful musicians who breathe so much life into it.
Right.
I remember, as Charles was saying about his initial experience with the band, I remember one also with Chris when he first joined it after a couple of rehearsals. And Chris is, all these guys are some of the genuinely nicest human beings, kind and generous and sweet human beings, thoughtful, super funny and smart too. But nonetheless, Chris at the end of one of the rehearsals kind of pulls me over and he said, "Hey, am I doing okay? I mean, is it what I'm doing?" And it's like, I'm sure frustrating because people are used to being in situations where they're kind of told what to do and there's charts for everything and you're just playing your part.
Right.
And in this case, it's like, if you're happy, I want you to find your way into these songs. Bring yourself into them and feel like you can come alive. You can come alive in it, and it'll breathe the life into it. And so with all the different personnel changes over the years too, these songs have often taken on very different character just by virtue of who's in the band, what the instrumentation is. I mean, it's been a trio at times, it's been a 12-piece band at times, and it's fine, it's complete whatever it is. Whoever shows up, that's the band, whether it's 5 of us or 12 of us. You know, everybody's there to earnestly try to have an adventure in music together.
So guys, thank you very much. That's really been on the front of my mind is how does a musician like myself or like yourselves or like any of you out in the world, how do you work with a new musician? And often when I walk in the room, I'm the heavy. You know, I'm the guy that has the answers, and
right.
that's the role I play, having to play it. But I'm not everyone is that.
No, there's a different, exactly, and I think the kind of organic nature of the way we do everything is so essential to all of us. It makes it hopefully more enjoyable.
And I think a lot of people who are not us don't fully understand that while you and I maybe are the name that gets there or the talking mouth that you have to listen to, there are innumerable people who are the sounds you're hearing.
Yep.
And we've heard from some of them, Tim, Charles, Chris, we've heard from you. We've heard from many musicians in the weeks preceding you and the weeks to come. Hunter, what haven't we heard from you, man?
Well, I mean, to echo a lot of what Tim said, that, you know, so much of what Hotel X is what you as an individual bring to the table. You know, if there's, say, another guitar player before Chris or another drummer before me, Tim wouldn't say, I want you to play it like this person played it. I want you to, you know, this is what I want you to play. It's like, no, it's what you personally are bringing. And, you know, there's been times where there's been turnover. Someone will show up, they'll be there for a couple weeks, it just doesn't click. And then sometimes people will show up, and here we are 15 years later.
15!
You know, yeah. So, you know, it's all about, you know, and to Tim's credit as a leader, it's about what you bring to the table and letting you contribute your part to it without, you know, and he can like sort of sketch it out and give you like sort of, well, maybe try this, okay. And, you know, but ultimately it's what each individual person brings to the table. And the really interesting thing to me about Hotel X that I found really interesting is that, you know, you have all these people, all these guys that are just amazing musicians, but there's no ego.
Yeah.
And that's pretty amazing.
Because hopefully you don't need it as much in a setting where there's, you know, less about, you know, locking horns, and it's really, I love whenever anybody, the fact is I've heard it played the other way before. I've heard the other drummer, the earlier, and I've heard it that way, you know, and it was great at that time.
Yeah.
But what will you bring? And because everybody comes bringing, you know, bouquets of flowers or seeds to plant, to grow the thing into something really remarkably different. And I think everybody understands too that the only thing that a song kind of has is is a fundamental nature to it. If it's a kind of a lament, or if it's a real exploratory song, or if it's a joyful eruption of jubilation, that's the one thing that everybody's like, oh, that's the feel of this song. And within that, whatever notes you want to play, whatever tone you want to use, you could literally, and all these guys do it at times, take your hands completely off your instrument, even as a drummer or a guitar player, so you can add stuff or even not. It's okay. You can stop and listen to what everybody else is doing. So there's not there's no hard and fast rules about any of it. It's like, just bring the most creative part, bring yourself in every way you can. Bring what today was like for you. It's okay if your day was really difficult and stressful, and if your day was really hard, if your day was hilarious. And that's the beauty of improvisation, is that this songs that we play for you guys tonight may sound markedly different the next time you hear us play, because it's a different day. And as you were saying, of the innumerable people who contribute, it's very much about the audience too, and not just that as soon as anyone comes in the room, if you play an instrument and you're doing it by yourself, and your wife or husband or whoever comes in the room while you're playing, it changes. It may change a little bit, because you feel that there's other energy. Somebody else is paying attention. And I think you'd be doing them a disservice if you didn't acknowledge that and allow the music to take on whatever character it seems to want to have that night. And there are so many nights we've played for 10 plus years at this wonderful kind of coffee and sandwich shop, Crossroads, over by Forest Hill
Yes,
Park.
I know it. I know
Big
it well.
open patio and all.
Been there
And
many
there's so many
times,
nights there where it turns into like this complete dance party by the end of the night. And everybody's dancing, although they bring their kids, and it's awesome. And then the next time we play, it may be more thoughtful and introspective. It may be more kind of avant-garde and real experimental. We just sort of let each day be whatever it is. And it doesn't have to be definitive. It just has to be what today feels like.
And isn't that, for me, fellas, that's love. That's the way I love my city. That's the way I love my world.
Yep.
The people in the room with me, that's the way I perform like you all do. I perform and I sing and I play. But when I love the most is when I'm in the crowd with the people, enjoying the playing and the singing and the music. And for that, in addition to many other things, I am grateful for you tonight. I'm glad you're here tonight. It means that all I gotta do is sit down and enjoy. Audience, for y'all watching on YouTube and on the internet, on TV, tonight is the first night I've had those I love in the room with me tonight, and we've been dancing too. So I'm hoping you enjoyed the night with us, got your bodies moving, got your heart pumping, got your sweat blowing, poured you a drink, squeezed on your kids, and had a fun time with us tonight. Fellas, the four of y'all and the four who are not on camera with us tonight, do you have another set of the show for us?
Yes.
You've got more music.
Let's go rock the house.
Could you please? Yeah. All right, guys, I'll see you over there.
Happily. Thank you so much,
thank
Robert.
you,
So
fellas.
appreciate it.
Let's keep loving. Let's hear some music.
Hear, what he said. Great. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming back for more. We're still Hotel X, and we're going to play another little short set of material. The first song is a reflection on a dear friend of mine's trek through West Africa in the summer of 1980. And he took a train, an open-air train from Dakar, Senegal, to Mali. And the stories were amazing, and this is a little a glimpse of some of that train ride across West Africa. It's called Train to Bamako. Excellent. Well, thank you again. We're still Hotel X, theoretically. We've been together since September of 1992, put out a number of records for the great Los Angeles punk label, SST Records. You know, Black Flag and Sonic Youth, and very happy to have recorded for them for years in the 1990s, and have since been freelancing it and are still happy as clams about it all, and hope we get a chance to share this with even more people in rooms or outdoors sooner than later. The next song is, this next one is a tune I wrote years ago, probably 25 years ago, and it's kind of an homage, a sad lament for a region of Mexico that has been ravaged by drug cartels and all the chicanery that goes along with that. It's called Sinaloa. Charles Nill on the guitar, James McDonald on congas, Mike Reitz on congas and percussion, Hunter Duke on drums, Carter Blough on the bass, Chris Vasi on guitar, and Charles Hunter on piano. I'm Tim Harding, we're Hotel X, and thank you again everybody for making this happen. Yep, two more. This is a song I wrote in tribute to a delicious North African stew. It's called Mafe. Thank you. Thanks for listening so much. And thanks again to the VMFA, to this wonderful crew here, and to BJ and Robert and the folks at the Richmond Jazz Society. We have one last short tune that I wrote, and hopefully to evoke some spirits. It's called Orisha.
Richmond, Virginia. The planet we all live on. That's my favorite thing about this, you guys, is that the show we have been producing, Richmond and I, for years, is now a part of the global community. And I'm so happy you're with us tonight. Tonight, for the first time, I was behind that camera, just off site for you all, dancing, cutting up. Y'all see me back there? Some of, I started to say, but the best friends of my life. And so I'm hoping that all of you at home tonight were just dancing, squeezing a thigh next to you, taking a sip on the table in front of you. And I'm glad we got to be a part of that with you. And I'm glad you were here too. Hotel X, thank you so much for a night of music, for jamming, for partying. And from the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts in Richmond, Virginia, from the Leslie Cheek Theater, this has been the virtual Dominion Energy Jazz Café. I am Robert Fennard. Thank you so much for learning from us, from loving with us, and for listening to us. Good night.